Alright, Schlockmeister fans. Here's a movie I've never seen before, but I've owned it forever. It's called Road Games with Jamie Lee Curtis, Stacy Keach. Let's check it out. The movie starts with Stacy Keach. He's a truck driver in Australia. And that's his dog, which he thinks is a dingo. Anyway, he stops at a hotel. He notices a green van and a hitchhiker that he didn't pick up, but apparently someone else did.
Now that clown's gonna get her.
Inside that hotel room, that woman is playing guitar while something's happening in the bathroom. It's a guitar wire, by the way. And that hitchhiker is about to become a first victim of the film.
Hey boys, I haul it in, you haul it out, right? Witty innuendo, eh? What do you think? No? Well, maybe you're right. It's against regulations.
Another hitchhiker he rejects.
All right, mate. Something wrong?
A little while later, he spots that green van again.
Well. It's our friend from the motel.
He doesn't hear the radio. It's somewhat of a roadblock.
Wait a minute, miss. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to pick up hitchhikers.
Oh, I'm not a hitchhiker. I'm not hitchhiking. My idiot husband drove off and left me here.
As in hitchhiker.
Well, a gentleman would have picked her up with his maniac running around loose, butchering girls.
What maniac?
The one on the radio, on the news.
Yeah, go on.
I didn't give up.
As they continue to drive down the road,
That man back there.
someone's digging a hole in the desert.
Of course you didn't. You were too busy arguing. But there was a man back there standing beside a dark green van, and he was digging a hole.
Well, after they start talking a little bit, the woman gets spooked, runs out of the truck, and almost falls off a cliff.
I didn't see any man back there, understand?
Yeah, I think I do. Oh, sorry.
He tries to call the cops,
Right.
but it ends up being too noisy there and he can't get his point across.
Those murders that you're investigating. Yeah, no, my name is Quaid.
Later on, he gets involved in a road rage incident. It's an incident that he wins. Jamie Lee Curtis is his next hitchhiker.
Aren't you kind of young to be hitchhiking out here all by yourself?
Aren't you kind of old to be picking me up?
And suddenly the cops show up. They're investigating the incident at that hotel. Apparently, that woman who we saw killed is missing.
The manager of the Melbourne car hotel claimed you checked in with a young lady, fitting the description of a missing person.
Me?
Your name was on the register.
What? Well, look, anybody could have copied my name off the truck.
If that young lady you shacked up with last night has come to any harm, we'll know exactly who to talk to, won't we?
It wasn't me. Now, if you don't believe me, you can talk to the manager of the motel.
Kind of a creepy scene here. They stop for the night on the side of the road, and lo and behold, we see the green van again. They spot it again the next day when they stop to make some repairs on the truck. Quid
Kind of got you with your pants down, didn't we, you slimy son of a bitch?
confronts the guy in the bathroom.
You know, butchering young girls is one thing. But when you hurt my animal, you made a big mistake, pal.
Jamie Lee Curtis decides to snoop around the van, inside of it actually, and that guy's not in the bathroom.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I thought it was somebody else. Whatever your game is. I mean, let's face it, what have we got running anyway, Buzz? Huh? What do we know about it? I'll tell you what we know about it. We know absolutely zilch, nada.
Police have fears that the truck driver, whose name has not yet been released, may be the same man wanted in connection with the disappearance of a missing Melbourne girl.
So now they're after him.
Looks like you got some heat tonight.
Bloody cops.
Who are they looking for anyway?
Always looking for some poor bastard. Let's get you weighed.
Really?
About the weight of a hot TV set, eh?
He's got some extra weight on his truck that he doesn't have an explanation for.
Oh, yeah.
Ah! It's a bunch of wire and shit. It's probably why you're 75 kilos over.
All right, Lester, just let it be. It'll be all right. Thanks anyway.
I got some wire cutters in the office. I'll only take...
Later on, he finds the van again, tries to confront him in an alley. Pretty tight-fitting alley. And our man comes out with a shovel. So the police are stuck behind him. They just got there. He's crammed in that alley. The police are underneath the car. They're trying to do something. And he's going after the van. Eventually the police car is cut loose. He guns it and manages to crush the van. And they get into a struggle. He manages to win the fight, and then the cops show up, apparently along with everybody else. And now they think he's the bad guy. Our real bad guy tries to sneak away.
I promise you, that guy over there, don't let him get away! It's that guy over there! Jesus!
So they check the guy's van, and inside, in a sleeping bag tied up, is Jamie Lee Curtis.
I thought you said he was in the bathroom.
And he's not gonna get away.
Where did he go back?
Then our movie has kind of a strange ending. His semi is being cleaned out later on. And then a head pops up. All right, we have a view from the couch tonight. Let's talk about this movie, Road Games. This is a movie that was an old cable movie back in the early 80s. This used to pop up on cable quite a bit. I remember that iconic box art there with the zipper on the woman's top there. Always remembered that, but I never ever saw the movie. To my knowledge, I never saw any clips of it or anything. It just, I remember seeing a picture of that cover art in the cable guide, and that's as far as it went. Years later, I saw the DVD in a store, and I picked it up, and that was about 20 years ago. And I never watched it until today. So I've been aware of this movie for 40 years, owned it for 20 years, watched it once today. So it took a long time. But anyway, finally got it done. So it's an Australian film starring Stacey Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. Kind of odd that they would go to Australia to make this movie, but that's what happened. They're the only Americans, I think, in the cast. But anyway, Stacey Keach is a truck driver named Mr. Quid. I think it was Paul Quid. And he keeps spotting this green van on the road, and he thinks this green van, the driver of it, he thinks is a serial killer because there's a serial killer somewhere out there. We hear on the news and such, and he sees him at a hotel with a woman who then ends up missing, and the cops actually question him about it because they know he was at the hotel, even though he didn't check in But the guy, the serial killer, actually checked in using Mr. Quid's name because he saw his name on the semi truck. Then he picks up Jamie Lee Curtis as a hitchhiker. He's got his pet dingo, or actually it's a dog. He thinks it's a dingo. Eventually, he sees the van on the side of the road or parked at this place when they're going to get some repairs. So he decides to confront the guy in the bathroom, but it turns out it's not the guy. The guy in the bathroom is not him. Jamie Lee Curtis ends up getting kidnapped by the serial killer, and the guy van drives off. So Stacy Keach doesn't know what to do, so he just basically gets back on the road. And then at one point he keeps seeing this van again, and they get into a cat and mouse type of deal. He ends up cornering him in an alley, and he chases him down and basically crushes the van with his semi. Lands on top of it, actually. The guy gets out. They get into a fight. The guy pulls out a shovel. We know the guy is a serial killer, and he's burying people in the desert that he kills. Quid is able to subdue the guy just as the cops show up, but the cops at this point think Stacy Keach is the killer, and he's the one they've been questioning, and they've been following him. So he's like, no, you got the wrong guy. This is the guy you want. He's like, check the van. And the guy tries to kind of slowly sneak away. There's a big crowd at this point. They do check the van, and Jamie Lee Curtis is in the van in a sleeping bag, tied up. I guess she hadn't been killed yet. She's going to be the next victim. And they ask her, who kidnapped you? She's like, that guy did. So they get the real killer. And then we think the movie's going to be over at that point. But and the two of them are still hanging around together. But then we see a weird final scene where his truck is being cleaned out. And like this, there was like a cord or a little tiny string or something dangling. The woman pulled it, and this severed head fell into her mop bucket. And then the movie ended. What the hell was that about? I have no idea. So anyway, that is Road Games. Now, except for that weird final scene, the movie was actually pretty good. I enjoyed this. They actually built up some nice suspense with this movie, actually. And strange little film. Our serial killer never has a single line of dialogue. It's just, there's some reminiscing of Duel a little bit, maybe. I don't know, because you had this strange, or the car actually, you had this strange car on the road with a silent killer inside, I guess. I don't know, but I kind of enjoyed this movie. I think I don't think there was any nudity in this movie, almost, with that woman in the beginning of the movie playing the guitar naked, but we couldn't actually see anything. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis took some time off from her horror movies back then. She did Halloween, Terror Train, Prom Night. This was somewhere in between all of that, Halloween 2. And I enjoyed this movie. So check it out, definitely. And this was put out by Anchor Bay. Again, I've had this movie a long, long time. Maybe it's been put on a Blu-ray since then. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll leave a link to something down below. Check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about Road Games. Watch it. Bye.